Crouch. Bind. Set.
Joe presents the House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Are you all sitting comfortably? Then we will begin. Welcome along once again to House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness. I'm Alex Payne, alongside James Haskell. Okay.
And I've done it. No,
oh, you have actually?
I have done
I'll
it.
give you that.
I've done it.
I'll give you that.
Thank you.
That's
What
have you done for the podcast, for listeners?
You have to take
split the Guinness between the harp and the Guinness.
Between the harp and the Guinness, and get the black and white line between it in one sip. Well, a goal.
Feels like a drinking game already.
Yeah.
Well, we don't indulge that because you've got to drink responsibly. But
Yeah,
That's
I
why we're
haven't done
taking
one
it
of
this
those
week.
for ages.
No.
It's like years.
Do you want to have a crack?
Decades.
Hello,
I did a
Ben,
drinking
hello, Ben
game.
Ryan. Have a go.
All right.
I did a drinking game with Rory Best once, and it just involved him saying "neck a pint," and that was it.
Miles off.
Ben, you're about a centimetre out there.
Yeah.
It's a good effort. It's a good first
Heard
slurp.
that before.
How are you? You're wearing a coat this week.
Wax,
We always like to start with your couture. Sort of, it's a woolly jumper this week,
I
but with a
ladybird
trendy
on.
coat as well.
Yeah,
Right,
I
in
had to
fact-
wrap up warm. I came straight from Roslyn Park Sevens.
Did you?
So yeah, so that was fun.
Did you just drop a ladybird on the floor?
No, I don't. I thought it was a ladybird, but
Oh.
it's not. I had an infestation at home earlier, but
An infestation of ladybirds?
yeah, I vacuumed them out.
Not lady. Not lady. Not lady boy.
RSPCA will be on the phone.
Were you talent spotting today? Were you
No, just catching up with friends.
Just
Got a
seeing
couple of
friends?
mates that are coaching, and yeah, it was good fun actually.
Really?
Rugby at its most just natural. Everyone enjoying themselves. It was good fun.
Good.
Yeah.
How have you been since we last saw you? What's the news? It's so nice to have you back for episode 3. We're hopefully going to get to the topics on this show that we haven't managed to get to in the first 2 because we've been gripped by the stories of what you've been up to. But actually really interesting on this show to talk about the game itself, and you've got some amazingly strong views on where rugby is right now. But what have you been doing since we last caught up?
I was at Vancouver for the Sevens. That was
Yep.
great fun. Amazing stadium, indoors, magnificent.
Who were you hanging around with?
And the French got there. Well, mainly Brian Havana. He was.
Why is he Havana?
I just prefer to call
Yeah.
him like that, like Brian O'Driscoll.
Right.
Good friends, though, innit? Like,
That's it.
dropping in there. I call him Brian Havana. I call him Mr. Havana because
Yeah.
don't know him well enough
No.
to have those nicknames.
You've tried, haven't you?
You'd probably just call him Sir, Mr.
Baz.
No, you wouldn't.
No, okay.
But who else have you been hanging around with?
That was it, really. And then, yeah, there was a movie. I mean, I wasn't hanging out with him. He was
Wow.
just sitting down near me.
You posted
so
a
I
lot of
managed to get.
photos.
I got on a lot of photos.
Yeah. You literally post a lot of photos. Do you want to tell everyone at home who you'd be nosing the hell out of?
How do you pronounce his surname?
I'm not sure.
Moma?
Jason Momoa.
Moma.
Yeah.
Is
Jason Moma.
Is it not?
I thought it
I
was
don't
Jason
know.
Momoa.
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 Like Momoa's bust. Had to
Momoa.
get another one.
Yeah, he was
Carl
fun.
Drogo
He was
from
fun.
Game of
He was
Thrones.
wearing Zinzan Brooks' old number 8 shirt that he got from his body double that played number 8 for Canada in the
91 World Cup quarter-final.
Yeah.
There's a stat.
Yeah.
How do you know that stat?
Because
I remember because you never went out with girls or did
That's
anything.
what I'm here to do. Talking of Game of Thrones, just before we started this,
Yeah.
you've got an incredible factoid.
I guess so. It's quite. So when I was a teacher, Amelia Clark, who's Daenerys in Game of Thrones, I taught her netball and I taught her PSHE. So that's effectively kind of
What was it? then?
sex education, like how not to get
Amazing.
I checked.
STIs, things like that.
I checked. Did she want to know this? You didn't knock on the door and just offer to help. That was part of you were a
It was
qualified
part
teacher.
of the curriculum.
I was a qualified teacher.
Right,
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
turn up and door, go,
Yeah.
hello, can I just teach you?
No, I didn't. I didn't do it like. Yeah.
That's how you get in trouble.
What was she like
Yeah.
at netball, first of all?
Good. I think she played mainly centre, wing attack. Yeah,
Wow.
she's decent.
Skillful.
Yeah, she's all right. Yeah, she was. She was. Yeah, good fun and like lively.
And what's the follow-on question?
And what was she like at sex education?
Ridiculous.
Model student.
Can you get struck off as a teacher even though you're not teaching
No,
anymore? Like
no.
as a like now, if I said
get
something,
burnt attention.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, she would ask questions to try to get me to blush because you do it in pairs, you see.
Yeah.
So female and male together, and then you ask questions.
Yeah.
And at the end of every lesson, they can ask questions. So I remember one kid.
Which I've been in your class.
You would have probably enjoyed it. One kid said look, we were doing STIs. Said, I don't understand about
I've got
how
a
you
golf
catch.
STI. They're unbelievable.
How you can catch.
You've probably got the full house, haven't
No,
you?
I've never actually. Always bag up. That's the message for the youth who listen to this. Too much casual approach.
Drink
to that.
responsibly, play responsibly.
100%. Honestly, there's just a very laissez-faire attitude to that in the world of professional sport. I think. I'm always shocked and appalled at the lack of discipline when it comes to that.
You could do that segment.
I'd love to,
I guess.
Sponsored by Durex. Happy to.
There you are.
Happy to do that.
Public Health England will be on the phone tomorrow.
Anyway, back to the story.
Back to Amelia's STIs.
Yeah, so this one kid just said, I don't understand how you can catch an STI from oral sex. You know how you can catch him just talking to people. He thought it was just ringing up. So he got a lot of stick for a few terms, and she would ask awkward questions. So then we ended up creating a box where you would get questions posted in your box. Then we could filter them.
Was she interested in rugby? Out of interest, would she like to come on the House of Rugby? Probably
You're never getting
not.
her on here, mate.
No.
Well, you never say never.
I know that, but it was the new Game of Thrones is actually
It's coming out soon.
yeah. But apparently, my lovely wife Chloe was telling me that Amelia Clark, I think it was her, suffered a brain aneurysm.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she's setting up a charity, isn't she?
Yeah, but she suffered a brain aneurysm in the gym because all celebrities kind of get fit for the photo calls and everything else, and she felt like she had an elastic band tightening around her brain, went off to the toilet, was quite violently ill, called herself an ambulance, got checked up and was obviously like, you've had a brain aneurysm, but then you're not supposed to do a load of stuff, obviously, after having that.
Yeah.
And but then carried on and filmed another series, but was constantly, unbeknown to everyone, going to get checkups, going to get to make sure she was okay, which I think is pretty insane.
That's amazing.
But
Good luck for the new April the 15th.
make you blush though.
Did she make you blush?
Did she make you blush?
Yeah, it's easy
Surely
to
a
do.
ginger,
Easy
if you
to
make
do.
them blush, they explode. Sure, it's like a thing.
Yeah, they go red. I mean, you go red, like very fast.
Red dirt.
Yeah. Like,
Reddest.
yeah.
I mean, I don't
Russet.
I don't remember a lot of sex education. I'll tell you what
You're
interesting.
probably
though.
handing it out, weren't you?
No, how dare
You
you?
would have had to have it, though.
Oh, I think I did have it. I remember they just
But
showed
all
like
boys' school, right?
Yeah.
So, different topics,
It was very
probably.
difficult. And I remember we just opened the book and there was like a head coming out of a birthing canal, or out of a canal out of a vagina. And I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. So I probably won't, invest in that.
What was that? I mean, what was that supposed to be shown? I mean, obviously,
Well, it was
apart from the obvious,
yeah. I mean, just showing the birth straight into birth. This is what happens. And I was
if
like,
you, yeah,
if you mess around, this is what's
right.
gonna.
In an all-boys school. For how old are you,
Well, I tell you
14?
what, if it was, we'd make a lot of money. If I could
Yeah.
make a boy pregnant, that would be pretty impressive. I think. I'm not sure I'd be hosting this show. It'd be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Junior. Is that right? No, that's not Junior.
Yeah,
Is it Junior?
with
Yeah, it is.
No, he actually has a baby though. He has a baby.
Danny DeVito.
No, but doesn't Arnold Schwarzenegger have a baby in one of the movies?
No, not twins, Producer Si. It was Junior. Producer Si has just said in my ear, in a really Alan Partridge voice, he said, when did James lose his virginity?
Oh, what?
It's unnecessary. Producer Si
Unnecessary.
can-
Oh, there
you
was
can
that.
talk about that later.
I can't remember what it was now. Sorry, forget it.
Should we go from Amelia Clark and STIs onto the breakdown? Is that a natural segue?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Are you
Removing
happy with
the
that?
jackal.
Actually, just did you teach anyone else of great
Removing
repute
the
over the years?
jackler with or without a condom.
Any other superstars in the classroom over the years?
James Forrester.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very tidy, very talented. No, I
Amelia
think
Clark and
that's-
James Forrester is a pretty good
Yeah, it's not
CV
bad.
to have. The script says that we'd like to talk to you about 3 separate areas: the breakdown, skill players, and philosophy. I sort of feel that we've set off at quite a pace. I don't want to put the brakes on, but breakdown first.
Sure. Well, after the Paris Agreement or whatever's been going on this week with World Rugby.
Yes. What did you make of that? But do you want to explain that first of all, as you understand it, and then
What I
your
understand
view
is,
as to-
I think they called it a symposium, but I don't think that's what it was. It was just a meeting, so they kind of got various stakeholders of the game in,
Yep.
and then talked about areas of the game that they're looking at changing. Maybe they should start applying law. That would be a really good start.
Yeah.
So that will happen. And some of the things they talked about, the rugby league type kicking. If you kick in your 22 and it bounces into touch, then you can get the line out on that. I guess
50-22.
that must be to hold your wingers back so that there's maybe a bit more space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little bit erroneous. I think removing the jacklet or just applying law for that
Yeah.
is the start point to people deliberately collapsing rucks and deliberately coming off their feet and having those collisions.
Yep.
So that's a good start point.
So by removing the jackler, the idea would then be that you would bind and step over.
Yeah, you counter ruck.
As Wheel did
like
back in...
Lorassi, as they
Yeah.
call it in Fiji, yeah. So you have your counter rucking. So you keep people on their feet a little bit more,
Yeah.
anticipate breakdowns. First tackler probably will go a little bit lower as a result to get that guy on the floor quickly then to take the space, I would imagine.
And
I think
you'll also get more numbers into breakdowns, because if you want to compete, contest and turn it over. You're actually going to have to push over the ball as opposed to one man.
Or
is that how you see it?
Different teams will do different things, won't they? Some teams will try to hold up the tackler maybe, but then you're risking the high tackle stuff. Apply law is what I think.
So by apply law, what are the specifics that you think are being ignored?
Apply law is that you can't have your shoulders below your hips,
Yep.
like in the ruck, so your hands. So most people can't go over the ball, put their head down there, and just wait for surviving the collisions. And the referees give the opportunity for the attackers really to smash them out of the way. And if they don't survive that, then they just carry on playing. If they do survive it, they generally give them a penalty. But then the best way to be able to get someone that's effectively sealing off the ball defensively is there's no room underneath. So you're having to either turn him, judo roll him, or just blunt force trauma and smash him off it. Neither of which are legal as far as deliberately allowed to collapse a ruck.
Yep.
You're not allowed to deliberately come off your feet.
Yeah.
So that first thing by the jackler is causing the other two.
Right.
It was actually easy to get them off when you could do the head roll. Bizarrely.
Yeah, it would have been probably, but again.
But you can see why that's been outlawed.
Yeah.
But
No?
Well, I don't know. I never understood why that was a problem. I know people get scared of the neck, but your neck doesn't. Wherever your head moves, it's the first thing I teach in wrestling or jiu-jitsu. Wherever your head moves, your body goes.
Yeah.
Your neck. So every time you went there, now you just used to run up to a rock. If someone was low, grab them, roll them straight onto the back, and they'd roll because no one's going to resist you. You can't.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone was caught in, but then you don't. I mean, I don't know. I might talk. I just don't remember. I never remember seeing anyone get someone trying to pull their head off. If they did, that was foul play.
It's not a good look, though, is it?
No.
And so you're right. Mechanics. That's exactly what would happen. But it's
very hard now to even work out where. I mean, obviously I haven't played for a while, but just the different level, the height levels.
How much time, training, and concentration do you put into it?
A lot. We.
But of a week's training, how much time do you spend on? Someone in your position.
Yeah, the breakdowns. It's just a massive element every week. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. Every talk, if you're doing 3 key points, it might be for that specific week, kick chase.
Yeah.
Making sure defensively we're not overcommitting into the breakdown, but thirdly, everyone always mentions the breakdown. So every week, as a team, we would practice it. As individual units, we would practice it. A combination of a lot of work on jackling, a lot of work bouncing back to your feet, a lot of work of surviving the catch tackle, as they call it.
Yeah.
A lot of work on the floor in terms of the ball carrier. So practicing, the double roll, the squeeze ball. I used to do a lot of kind of clear out work stuff.
Yeah.
But I find it's just quite boring doing it all the time. And, I think once you've been doing it a while, you understand the mechanics of what you're trying to hit. And to be honest with you, the whole sole objective as a player approaching the breakdown is to take that player off his feet. It's the mindset is one man, one bullet, take them off the feet, and always finish on top of that player. So that's the mindset. Is hit them as hard as you can and get them off. When they were, I seem to remember when I first, sort of 5 or 6 years ago, there was a lot more time to, if you were coming to approaching someone at a breakdown and they were over the ball jackling, you'd almost get a bit of a side angle where you could put your hand under one arm, one leg, and flip them over.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to be much more. Now it's literally blunt force, as you say, straight into them. You can't do the neck roll anymore.
Yeah.
So more often than not, if you miss, you're not going to be able to pull them off the ball very easily. More often, you just have to hit them really hard.
And the attacking gate's fairly well refereed now. So you've got to come through that gate, which is And if they played around with that a little bit, if they changed the attacking gate, so you didn't have to necessarily, the gate was a lot wider.
Would you widen it?
Potentially, then you're still able to clear. Yeah. But you then could enforce staying on feet and not deliberately collapsing rucks. So that might then get rid of, you're then hitting the guy over the ball from a position that's a lot easier to move him.
Right.
So they could play around a little bit with the gate.
Yeah.
But your primary concern is because I've seen the clip. I don't go on Twitter very often, but the things I've seen or what you've clipped up or what examples where it's people just blunt force running straight into people's back of heads.
And turning so your knees are exploding and things like that. Jean de Villiers type, and the one I put on Twitter this week, where just literally your knee and your ankle's got nowhere to go because it's in a fixed position, and so someone's just rolling.
Was this the Etienne?
Yeah.
Do you know? I saw that. So Etienne Dussart for Grenoble. I saw the tweet that said horrendous, and actually I just thought I passed it by.
Yeah.
Because you just know what the outcome is going to be.
I can't watch any of that stuff.
No, horrible.
We live in a world now of WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. I think we've talked about it before. We're not going to sidetrack. The world is going down the toilet via social media, but stuff that people are filming and passing around on that nature. I'm like, can we just please? I don't mind the old funny joke, but anything graphic like that, I can't.
Yeah,
can't comprehend.
It's horrible. But it's as a result of what's going on at the moment. And
so I want to pick back to a different. Your tweet in October that had a huge sort of pick-up off the back of it. Some of the clear-outs in the Glasgow Saracens game, the European game, you said, are incredibly reckless and dangerous. The breakdown lawlessness is now a runaway train.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got to the point where they're trying to do something about it. But do you feel the breakdown has been the biggest blight on rugby union in modern time?
Totally, because it just... All it does is reward like lack of skill, lack of thinking, and just blunt force, power and trauma. You just smash into people and that's it to keep ball. So we are getting, 10 years ago, we never had 30 phase rugby, and it's regular now, and it doesn't actually require too much creativity to get that multi-phase stuff. And it's one out passing, 2 out passing that's just then smash, create, you're running into a face, not a space again, and it's bang, 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 bang. So if the game continues like that, what we'll have is James in a decade going, crikey, I'm glad I'm not playing the game now, look at the size of them.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what people from our generation are saying about players now. If we get to that point in 10 years, which is in, I was watching the Roslyn Park today, there's some big units playing, under 16, under 18, serious size.
Yeah.
And that is going now too far towards them being successful on the rugby field, when it needs to have that mix, so the game that we talk about being for all shapes and sizes is no longer the case. It's not for all shapes and sizes, because you can't survive there if you're not a certain size anymore. It just can't happen.
What's really interesting about this, though, is that you are quite symptomatic of modern day rugby. I mean, you are exactly what Ben's talking about: bigger, faster, stronger, further, etc. Even for someone like you who's been there, done it, doing it, do you worry about the breakdown as an aspect of the game? Have you ever thought, the risks of modern day rugby and the breakdown now are such that you are running a gauntlet that is ever tightening?
I think because I've always been on the wave of all that, all the changes, all the bits and pieces. I've always been into kind of my health and fitness. And actually, one thing I get asked all the time from young players is, I'm not big enough, I'm not this, how do you get bigger? And I learned very quickly in my career that actually being big doesn't make you a good rugby player, doesn't actually,
Does it help?
I think to weather some of the collisions it does, and being in good shape helps you survive and have that kind of longevity. But actually, some of the most powerful people, Mike Brown for me is one of the hardest blokes to tackle in world rugby. I remember Nick Abendanon, some of these guys are very, very difficult to stop, and they're not the biggest. I think if you're blessed like kind of a Billy V or someone else like that who has that kind of real size and knows how to use it, I think it is, it's your point of difference. But actually, generally, I don't think it does make a massive difference. I think we are now becoming, or the whole of rugby is all about the gain line. So it's about how quickly you can accelerate onto the gain line. Everything about the sport is, can you be in motion when you get the ball? How aggressive can you be on that carry? How aggressive can you be on the clear out? And how aggressive can you be again? Obviously, within the realms of people trying to create creativity outside of that. Because if you have 5 or 6 collisions over the gain line, defensive scramble, then the space comes out wide, and then you see ability of teams to pick that off. but myself, I always constantly tell young players and these kids who message me, it's much more about nailing the aspects of the core skills that you're addressing, as opposed to be the first reaction to go into the gym and pick up a weight. It would be, let's spend 10 minutes after training actually working on tackling. The reason you're missing tackles is not because you're not big enough, it's because your technique's terrible, or you haven't got the mindset right, you haven't got your technique right. And I look at games now, because I haven't played for I don't know, 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, whatever. I watch training and I watch games on TV, And it is definitely changing. And the longer I feel like I'm not playing, it's changing week on week, or feels like it is.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's so physical, you know. I mean, obviously it's not changing week on week, but just that perception is, you know, what rugby was like last year feels very different to what rugby was like this year. And I think it is.
In what way?
I just think it is just getting much more physical all the time, but incrementally so, that all the players are. Maybe it's because I'm just getting old, but they're genuine.
Welcome to the club.
But it's one of those things. You watch games now, all the backs the same size as the forwards.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's as well drilled as and conditioned. Everybody's powerful. You've got all these mutants coming off out the academy ranks who are all pretty big. You know, pretty powerful people already, and it's you know, that step up to Premiership rugby. There used to be a bit more of a drop off. Now players are coming in and slotting in quite quickly, whether they play the house down, but they do get those games, and I do notice it. I do really wonder where rugby's going to go within that mind.
So that's really
if you just take like also like 1995 World Cup, the average tackles in the game were around 95 to 100, and 20 years later it's around 400. You know, that in itself is just a crazy statistic, and nothing's been done around the law.
4 times as many tackles.
Yeah, but that's why they
20
say
years.
That's my favourite thing.
Same for breakdowns, you know, and so you know.
But that's why they say when they watch, you know, when you watch older teams.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, if they played in our generation, they would have adapted. But when you talk about these amazing teams and kind of these real rugby keynotes, talk about the greatest teams, you look at them and go, well, defending was optional. It was, it was 20. It was sort of, you know, 15 men where you could throw a blanket over, running from one side of the field to the other. Tackling involved vaguely diving in you know, at the bloke's feet, and he would step out, and they would score ridiculous tries, and there was space all over the place, and everyone kind of harks on about that.
Some would say maybe it was a better product back then.
But now you've got, you know, now a lot of teams will have 14 men on their feet the entire time. Once we've got one tackler on the breakdown, say a team doesn't compete, 14 guys on their feet, ready to play, and you're running to brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. You know, every aspect of the game is how quickly do you get off the floor, how quickly do you get back into the game. You know, 2-man tackles, can you stop the guy on the gain line? That's all that matters. So everything is around that collision impact.
Genuine question. Does it? I mean, it sounds a bit sort of. I don't mean to sound noisy, but does it hurt? I mean, does it hurt? Or are you so conditioned now that you don't? But do you find yourself now, at the latter years of your career, playing the game of rugby and sort of wondering midway through, what the God's name am I doing?
No. I feel like that. You know, after
Monday
games.
morning.
Yeah, I think a lot of players. It's kind of almost my favourite time of the week, because you come in and say, "Hello, X, how are you? What's the how you state of me?" And he's like, "Fuck, mate," you know, like. Balsa wood legs have gone, you know, I've got full rickets, I can't, you know, and lads kind of shuffling, unable to walk 2 or 3 days after a game, and then we go around again. So you never play in a game and think that, because your competitive element comes in. It's why you play the game, that adrenaline. So you don't think that. Yeah. But
do you worry long term?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you really?
Yeah, I mean, I think now as I'm getting towards the end of my career, yeah, you do consider that. I just think I don't know what state our body's going to be in. And you keep meeting old rugby players. Like, say if you go to an England game and you meet all these old England rugby legends, or any of these events, they look like half their legs were put on backwards in the morning, or they're like their hands don't work, or like you shake someone's hand and their thumb does a 360, or you know, you walk and the bloke's legs facing the wrong way and he's trying to walk down the stairs, and you see someone has to walk down the stairs backwards.
And they were playing 40 when it was side to side, and tackling was optional.
And like lads like necks don't work, and you always see rugby players when they finish, they'll go, some guy, I'm never going to train again, I'm never going to do anything again. And that's when they get in real trouble, because as soon as they lose the muscle mass, as soon as they don't training, all their ligaments, tendons, all the muscle belt that held them all together, they feel 20 times worse than they ever did while they were playing. Yeah. So I've got to constantly keep training. I reckon if I stop training and lose loads of weight, I think my shoulders will start hurting. My neck doesn't really work that well. But I've had a hell of a ride.
Would you do it all again?
Oh, I'd go out. Listen, if I was fit, I'd go out and batter someone this weekend, or have a good go at it.
I think one of the points that I try and make around this Jackler and some of this stuff that's going on at breakdown is that James could spend, all the players now are being really professional, getting their diet right, working hard in the gym, dedicating their life to it, and you can do all of that. And you can still be at a breakdown over the ball, and you have no chance sometimes with some of those injuries. You can be, the strongest, fittest, best player in the world, but that's, that suddenly you're fucked, and that's what you need to stop. Those sort of things where law can actually help those players not get those catastrophic injuries.
interesting enough, that's why George Smith has patented the Matador. Have you seen it? For the nauseous who listen to this and watch this, don't know what I'm talking about. So every time, because everybody's job now is the second man into a breakdown.
Yeah.
What is timed is how quickly. So if you carry the ball, how quickly I'm as the second man in there. So I don't even let the jackler get in, or if the jackler's there, I'm ready to clear out. George Smith waits over the breakdown, looks like he's going to compete. I think to myself, oh, it's George Smith, I'm going to absolutely end him here. I run to try to absolutely smoke him. He steps to the side like a matador with his cape, throws me out of the way, I fall on the floor, he steps up and picks the ball and plays it. I've seen him do it about 6 times this season, and he's got Thacker doing it, or Thacker's picked it up from him. It's beautiful, it's the Matador. He was doing it at Wasps, where you dummy, everyone just goes straight off their feet because they want to smack him because there's no control.
Yeah. And
he just pops in and picks the ball up. It's beautiful if you can pull it off. Problem is, if you get it wrong, then you end up getting caught and look like a tit. If you've got a turning circle of a 220 bus, like I have, it's not you're not great. Yeah, but that's why some people like him just take advantage of those little bits and pieces. But more often than not, it is just
doing that though because he knows that if he did the opposite, then he
wouldn't be playing at 40.
Chances,
yeah. Talking of longevity, and I suppose where the game is going, Wayne Smith. There needs to be radical change to a sport, he says, struggling to cope with the battalions of muscle-bound young men and parents fearful to expose their children to it all.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying.
Do you think rugby is moving back? I mean, do you think rugby consciously has said we have reached a point where if we keep on this trajectory, the game is not going to survive long term because of?
I think there's an element that are showing the injuries. There's people that, I guess, not just like me, but lots of people that have got a bit more of a voice that are saying this game's going down the wrong direction. And then as a result, as a sport, we just always react. We're never proactive.
Yeah.
World Rugby are going to be reacting because they're going to be seeing that actually perhaps the numbers aren't increasing as participation, that they are getting some serious injuries and that they're having to do something about it. And it's after the fact, not actually going ahead and thinking, right, how can we make this game better so that it's a proactively going to reduce injuries, not on the back of some data or some statistics that someone's measured somewhere. And that's what we need to do now. So it's and like the symposium, like in Paris, great that they're actually looking at the jackler and stuff. Everybody's inside the camp. Nearly everyone that's in those meetings that aren't prepared really to talk, to actually have some direct conflict to an extent with.
Why not?
Everyone's invested decisions on things, and it's a bit like, we won't change any laws whenever World Cup's coming around because a couple of head coaches from a couple of the unions, have big voices. Effectively, England and New Zealand run everything, around that, and France. And so laws won't change because they don't want to change things. They don't care about the 95% of players that don't play professional rugby. But ultimately, they're the ones that are going to decide on whether the game's going to go forward and going to thrive in the next couple of generations. So we're so reactive as a sport.
Can I just ask, do you think though, in terms of the professional game, that at some point you've just got to be aware that it is a contact sport, and that's like people are dying in boxing.
Yeah,
and I more so than I think I've had more brain damage recently in my memory, in terms of, I remember like Nigel Benn fought, I can't remember who it was, it Michael
Gerald McClellan.
And that was the kind of my lasting memory. And then recently there's been 5 or 6 guys who've gone into boxing ring who have fought and end up being in comas, but people still take up boxing, people still do it. I always think, yes, I think in terms of for longevity of the game, and I think the size of players has got to be capped, because otherwise you end up like NFL. But even then, they've got padding and they're only playing for 30 seconds to a minute at a time.
And short seasons.
Yeah, and we're going kind of at it for 80 minutes across 30 odd games. But don't you just think at some point you've got to draw and go, this is a contact sport. We can't control it in any way.
Yeah, of course, and like we know that, and you don't want to take that away. But like, use the boxing example. They're still like the Queensberry rules, and the rules that they use, they don't suddenly go, actually, there's a rule that there's in boxing that we're going to ignore that one. And that's what happens in rugby. We've got a law book that's should be put in the fiction part of the library, because it doesn't actually keep to within the laws. And I'm waiting for a time that somebody actually gets a serious injury, and then they look down the laws and go, that's not actually being applied, and that somebody can get sued around this, because you're doing it, creating a game, create laws, and actually you are on, everybody is not applying these laws. So there is that. And yeah, you're right. I mean, look, more people die fishing and, and die playing golf and all that. But we should still be able to take away, and we don't want to take away the soul of the sport, which is it's a contact sport. I agree that, but it's got to be one where it's a fair fight, and we're not creating an environment that is only going to heighten the chances of these injuries and doesn't make the game better.
There is something though that, sorry to interrupt you, is that there is one thing though that I find that whenever and I'm sometimes oblivious to this stuff, like I didn't realise this week that this was going on. I know that you were very vocal about it. As a professional, we hear about stuff, I would say, third hand. You start a new season and they've gone, it's new laws, new rules, or new laws, whatever.
How difficult is it to adapt? So one of the things I'd love to ask is if they suddenly said, right, Jackler goes on Tuesday, and from now on you have to bind and step over, or you have to, as Ben was alluding to, how quickly can you get back up to speed and think, I'm at the top of my game again?
But the thing is, so much has changed. So you just get on with it. I just got the hang of the bit where you could tackle the tackler could bounce up to his feet and didn't have to go through the gate and pick up the ball. And then they took that out, and then you kind of got the Jackler in there. I wonder who, obviously these people who make these rules and make these laws and fiddle with these games, are any of them like current players or any of them involved in the game?
It's all sports sciencey people that have got all this data and then look at stuff and then they come up with something.
See, that for me is like, as a player, we never get consulted on any of this stuff. Like we got consulted once on that the season extension thing, and everybody I know went, absolutely not, bollocks. Next minute, we're having season extension. We're like, hold on a minute. We all said we didn't want to do that. And because everyone in rugby is, all the teams are always about, you're a good person, I'm a good person, we won't rock the boat. Actually, we'll voice something, but if anything changes, we'll just get on with it. That's what rugby players do. And because no one wants to upset the apple cart, like you're saying these guys are doing in these meetings. And then we find out about the rules, and then you go into a meeting and there's a sports science woman who's never played rugby, never done anything, turning around going, we think you need to tackle thing like this. You're like, love, you literally have no idea what you're talking about. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to tackle someone like that? It's beggars belief, and it's sometimes like, if you could marry the two with some people who actually knew what they were doing, with some people emerging, instead of trying to use data or anecdotal evidence or people who think they've just got to change because they're reactive instead of proactive, might make a difference. Because as a player, I feel like I've got no control over anything that happens.
Totally
anything that happens. And even when we voice things, so much stuff just gets brushed under the carpet. I mean, we could do another show on that, but you hear about something, you're like, brilliant, they're going to change that, and then suddenly you find out it's being reversed, or they come in on the first day, right, they fiddled with 3 laws that weren't even a problem. It is a bit weird. It is just a bit weird, but I find them weird when you come in, it's when they did, my favourite one was they did, health and safety, or a risk assessment. Someone was doing a risk assessment on a gym that I was training in. It was like, you can't risk assess this gym. There's like people lifting weights here, people balancing on here, people leaping here, just forget about it. You're not going to make this any safer than it already is. But there's someone going, that's not right. It's like, just pick the battles. Pick your battles, you know what I mean? In
the interests of balance, it's obviously 2 very powerful views here. I think it would be really interesting to get someone from World Rugby on. Maybe a Brett Gosper. Come and have a chat. Come and explore the...
He's not round the corner, is he?
Another surprise guest for you.
I thought you were about to do that. Go, funny you should say that.
But it would be interesting to hear the alternative side of it, and perhaps why things...
I think Brett... I've been in meetings with Brett. I think Brett does a great job. I really like what Brett's doing. But he's a single voice and he's a CEO, and ultimately he's there to
Gus
and Gus as well. But these guys, they're under resourced World Rugby. There's not enough people on the ground that are doing enough around all this, and that's why they react too much like they do. You got then various other people who are invested. So actually, you say, well, who's really going to drive these changes?
Who should be doing it?
Well, I think they need to. I think a bit like James said, you need a group. Firstly, you need the group to actually be a proper a group that has people, current or recent ex-professionals, not guys that played 20 years ago, which ultimately are the ones that are making these calls. If you look at who's in all these groups, they all played the game, that time. It's so different now, and they're not going through what we're going through, not just on Saturdays, but on the daily, weekly schedule that professional players have to go through now. So you must have a voice that actually gets heard, which happens in professional sport in the US. That's why we're so far behind. If you look at the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball, the players have a say and they help drive the game, and we don't do that. enough in rugby.
Because they've even got a foot and ankle committee that they won't approve certain cleats and boots if they're below the toilet. So you watch what sports. This is another, obviously, it's the side chat, but you pick up a rugby player's boot these days, you just go boom, fold it over on itself. There's a 120 kilo guy running around on a foot, and everyone's doing their breaking bones in their feet, or their syndesmosis, all these kind of other bits and pieces, whatever. That's not in your foot, but they do all these things, and like, look at the footwear. But in America, they just wouldn't. They don't approve that. NFL, you're like, no, you're not allowed to have that. You can't have that. That's not approved. So I'm not saying we have to go completely mad, but it definitely needs to have a voice, because I get frustrated when I hear people commenting on rugby. I get frustrated if I comment on rugby and I haven't been involved in for 3 weeks. There's some people still operating in TV and public, played like 20 years ago. You've got, unless you're there seeing it, and a lot of people talk about the games being an issue for players, like wear and tear. It's the training's the killer. Yeah. Forget the games. Lads love games. More games isn't a problem. It's just with more games comes more training, and so much stuff in rugby is done out of fear. That's the problem. So much stuff's done out of fear. We've talked about the psychological part. We probably do more of that. So much done out of fear because we used to do it, so we've still got to do it. If you don't beat someone up on a Tuesday, then you're not going to beat someone up on a Saturday. Well, if that's the case, then that's down to mental. Because why is beating someone on a Tuesday mean you're going to perform on a Saturday? You know, a lot of stuff is like, well, we have to do that because we've always done that. Or if you don't do that, that's going to. And it's like, why? We've now got all this data. Instead of using this data and telling us that it's, picking holes in it, it might be a good idea to say, actually, as a player, do you know what? For you to perform your best on the weekend, you only need to run 11k or 7k in the week. But some boys need 7k a session. And all this kind of stuff, that's the thing that's going to kill the game, is the training, because you've got to prepare more, and you end up having full-on contact, full-on stuff all the time, and that's what batters the lads.
Yeah, and that's why I get criticised for it, but that's why rugby's so far behind some of these other sports, that they get that, in the NFL, it is, the whole league only sanctions contact on certain times of the week for all the clubs, and they video all the training, and that's available for everybody. So we're just far behind all this. I mean, yeah.
Would you ever watch that Hard Knocks TV series?
Yeah. It's great.
The Hard Knocks.
Scott and Will.
Pardon?
With Scott and Will. School of Hard Knocks?
No. There's a thing in
NFL.
Yeah, the NFL one. Sorry.
And there was big contact week, big challenge, man. And it's literally like two lads just run like head on head, push each other. And I'm thinking, you should come down and see when we go, 10 on 10 in the 5 metre channel in tackle suits, and someone just throws the ball because he lost the game. And that'll spice them up. The Americans will be like, oh my God, man, you guys are crazy. You don't even wear pads. But to be fair, you are getting hit from 360 degrees in.
But they do then. They realise that does not make sense then to train with tons of contact all week, that's been led by the sport and being proactive.
We've got an NFL. Who have we got coming on, producer Si? We don't know. We've got an NFL player coming on the show.
Such a big-time player. We don't know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Two X7s boys, Alex Gray at Atlanta.
He's doing unbelievably well, isn't he?
Wade's getting involved into...
How's he actually getting on?
He's starting...
He's on the pathway.
Something this week or next week.
Yeah, he said he's representing. He looks like a...
He's chunked up a lot.
He has, but he looks like a young Michael Vick. I saw Danny Cipriani commenting under his post. He's had his lid tightened. He looks good.
Who's Michael Vick?
You know who he is.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable quarterback, one of the most skillful, but he absolutely ruined everything by getting into dogfighting. He was like the face of Nike.
That's another show.
He was one of the best running quarterbacks ever, as well as unbelievable arm, incredible, and then thought he'd set up a dogfighting ring. And they don't forgive you for that. Do you know what I mean?
No second chance.
Sadly, no.
You're watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness.
Good to get in some rugby this week, actually. We're going to talk philosophy with Ben. We're going to talk skillful players, and we're going to tackle a baddies.
No, a villains, not baddies.
A villains,
not five.
Apologies. We're going to do a Enid Blyton baddies perfect pour.
Fanny and Dick off to the beach.
Yeah. Smuggler's Cove.
Yeah.
First, though, here's something else you might like from Joe.
Cheers, Alex. I'm Chris Lloyd. This is Carl Frampton, eating his way slowly towards the middleweight division. We're going to be here every Thursday talking about the big issues in boxing, getting stuck in with special guests, behind-the-scenes interviews, and, of course, snacks as well. Tune in every Thursday, podcast and on YouTube.
Thanks very much indeed, Chris. Don't forget to check out the most recent show where the boys were in Bolton with Anthony Crolla ahead of his world title fight on April the 12th. And while you were listening to that, have you calmed down? Just
No.
a bit of a part-time rant.
No, I just people get so vehement about stuff, then I just don't get it.
Yeah, there's not many people.
It is sports,
There's not
man.
people who can get social media.
Producer
and say,
side.
you know, that you know, nice stuff.
Oh, and I
It's
said
more-
about Alwyn Jones, and I went, I got Alan from Wales. I fucking know his name's not Alan. People trying to spell that, I go disrespectful. I couldn't remember the Scottish player's name who scored that try because I'm not an
Johnson.
absolute rugby keno. You know,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
that's
here
why
for.
you're here.
That's what I'm here for.
Right? And
Provide
someone's
the
like,
detail.
disrespect. It's like, fuck off. He probably doesn't know who I am.
Okay, calm, breathe.
He does, but anyway, he's probably bought my book, but available at Amazon.
Skilled players. Talking of Sam Johnson and skilled players,
Yeah.
where do you want to go? Where do you want to start? Is everything we've been talking about so far squeezing skilled players out of the game, or do you think skilled players can make a comeback? Where is the role of the skilled Nehemiah Muscada,
innovation,
Elliot Daly?
James Haskell
Like-
just sitting in between.
just the sleight of hand and guile and doing
Cipriani,
something different. Yeah,
Shane
obviously.
Williams.
Yeah, I mean those guys. I've been on record a lot saying how I think Sip should be involved in the setup. But just it's like you don't see anything too different anymore. You know, there's not suddenly looking at the game and going, this team is doing things completely differently, or looking at trying to break down defences without just keeping ball, like James saw 5 or 6 one out passes, smash. You might have a little bit more space, and then you might get some ball out to the wider channels. People aren't looking at that, and the game hasn't moved on from there. We're not looking at backlines, looking at having different setups. It's still fairly similar. Back row moves have completely gone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the last time I saw a back row move. Crikey.
Parise probably.
I'm hoping it comes back in because I used to love.
No,
Yeah.
Parise was
they've completely gone, haven't they?
the only time at international rugby you would have to worry about a back row doing
Drift
number
wide,
eight
pop
moves.
ball back inside. It's
Yeah,
what against England
or
a few
a
times.
yellow card move where they put someone and he would run out back inside to the 7, who would then on his shoulder to the 6 coming round.
Yeah, nice.
Score under the
Yeah,
post.
yeah.
Back row moves are wicked.
Yeah, they're gone now completely.
Yeah. I don't know
It just
why.
seems to be like, well, we're looking into phase play, strike moves, get someone over to clear a ruck, and those guys that you might have some movement around the ball, but then it might not be as straightforward about who clears what if happens. Well, that's all right. That's
Yeah.
okay. But that's disappearing.
But do you think though, with the very fact that everyone is now athletically better, in inverted commas, we are seeing like unbelievable highlight moments. So not necessarily the flow of the game, I agree, but some individual brilliance from people like footwork or the winger for the Crusaders. Is he a Fijian?
Yeah, he's Fijian, yeah.
Yeah.
He's New Zealand qualified as well.
Literally got tackled and just offloaded the ball over the back of his head, like dislocated his elbow doing it. And some of the guys' footwork and their speed and the finishes on things are, I think, becoming more prevalent, or kind of. Certainly, maybe it's just because of the advent of social media where everyone's recording these clips. But I see individual brilliance a lot more. But maybe I agree with you. I don't necessarily see quite the team flow.
Yeah, you can be far more pragmatic in what you're doing, conservative, because you can rely on keeping the ball for larger periods of time by doing the basics, like what we've just been talking about, rather than giving creativity a little bit more chance to breathe in the modern game. And that's where we are. So yeah, we are still seeing individuals, and it's great to see young guys coming through like Ollie Thorley, and you see some of the stuff he does, and it's a mixture of that power and a little bit of movement as well. But I think a lot of that is kind of like one-on-one opportunities where they're doing something naturally, but we're not seeing some more stuff around movement. Toulouse are starting to, they're sticking to how they used to play a little bit, and they're unbeaten in 2019, and they're playing a little bit differently, and you see a little bit of that in Super Rugby sometimes, but I haven't really seen it at international level for a while, And
Do you think the game is poorer for the lack of it?
you like to see variation, don't you? And I like to see the game moving forward tactically and technically as well as physically. And I think the laws aren't helping that. And so if actually you're a DO or a head coach, you're looking at how the best way to win games. Is it about the gain line? It's about defences suffocating, getting off the line quickly. It's about attack, getting over the line quickly. It's about what you're doing at breakdowns and clearing people and getting quick ruck ball. And it's not about movement. It's not about having, you don't see many strike plays as much as you used to either. Penalty moves have almost disappeared as well. It's either kick to touch and line out. We're not seeing any old school walls.
Do you remember the wall? The Barbars are the only team that do the wall. And I always wonder why modern players don't do it.
Yeah, because the wall always goes well until someone runs through the middle and there's someone waiting the other side of it, absolutely batters them. And then you're like,
that's 1 in 5. If you're two big men running crisscrosses behind
I guarantee the first thing a coach would say, right, you guys get off the line and smoke all those people in the back. That's what you do.
Step back, run it quicker, get the ball gone.
But listen, I'm telling you now, they'd be like they'd be like head in the spokes, and but hit them in the back of the knees, and that'll be it. And then you might get the ball away, you might not, but there'll be a lot of people with major spinal injuries after that happening.
And I'm not sure. Look, like in the 90s, you were expecting when you used to play fullback, you're expecting almost start the game, a big high ball's going up, and if you catch it, they'll probably leave you alone. If not, that's going for the next 20 minutes. That's high what balls. Both teams. And both fullbacks got hit with high balls at the start of each game, and that was literally the start of every game. Yeah, and then it kind of moved on as people got better aerially. Laws changed a little bit, and so I'm not saying that was great, because that was a pretty narrow-minded way to play the game, but it just the game needs to allow more creativity, and the best way we can do that is through making sure the laws, guiding principles for any law changes are: is it going to make our game better, and is it going to reduce injury? And those two things are really important. And if they're not doing either of those things, like not applying law, if I was talking about the jackler and talking about people coming off their feet or deliberately collapsing rucks, and actually contrary to that was, it's making the game better and it's actually reducing safety, then I go, all right, fair enough, we're not applying those laws. It's not doing either of those things, so why are we allowing it to happen? And that's what guiding principles, and that's being proactive, not reactive, and that's what we're doing at the moment.
I remember in the National Academy days when Brian Ashton set that up years ago, where it was myself, Dylan, Rob Webber, Sips, Don Waldock, those guys, and we used to go and do a load of attacking stuff with him, but also in the classroom where he would give us scenarios, and it was a lot more prevalent. You would create all these moves. Brian brought in obviously the 2 lines of attack, which we now have as kind of standard. That move where everyone lines up straight in the middle and behind the scrum.
So I've watched England do that under Lancaster for 4 years, and I don't think it ever worked at all.
And then having 2 guys off the field, and Brian used to show you slides of kind of got breakdown here, there's 5 players here, how to work, and that was quite cool. But now there's essentially 14 guys on their feet. And it is quite hard to. I mean, I'm not much attacking prowess at all, but in terms of obviously observing it from someone who works on it
front row
hard,
seats,
front rows in the cheap seats, it is really kind of interesting, because what kind of beats boys now with deception is just down to individual errors in that defensive line, where you see a lot of guys go to the line now. You've got 2 runners either side. They either pull it out the back to a 10, or they go to a short ball, and you're basically hoping that one defender will blow his assignment. And that's more often when you're getting these line breaks, and it's where someone's just a moment of lack of concentration you're going through, as opposed to, like you're saying, which is creating unbelievable.
And like we talk about Brian, where he would want people on, inside each 5 metre on either side of the field, and then he would, there's other stuff he did, but to manipulate defences to get them to have to change, and therefore you're on the front foot as an attack. And it's those sort of things that we're not seeing enough of in the modern game. It doesn't mean that it's not. I guess within laws, coaches could still do it, but because you're siphoned into this power-based game, nearly everybody's doing it. No one's thinking enough creatively outside the box to
From an England perspective, you've mentioned Cipriani. Alex Good is the other guy who's often talked about. Jonathan Joseph's obviously been injured. Who do you think England are not picking that they should be? Who would bring more of that creativity, or does the game at the moment not allow those kind of selections?
I think, or
they're players that you are screaming for to be included.
Cipriani should be involved in matchday squads if he's playing, and that, I'm not saying like everybody needs to you can't say like you want to pick on form. So I don't say just shove Cipriani in because he's a really talented player. He's got to be playing well as well, which he is at the moment. And then Scotland's a good point. It would have been a really good. If they'd moved things around, Ford did all right when he came on, obviously. But for me, he's not the same type of player. Cipriani, he's not a game changer. and we had 2 9s playing against Scotland. You know, both Youngsy and Farrell were passing. They weren't as and Ben was box kicking. I'm sure it was under orders by the coaches, and Farrell was just distributing, and he wasn't an attacking threat. And and you want backline players that are decision makers, can be line breakers, and can be distributors. You want players like that. And I would be putting Elliot Daly. I thought Slade was excellent in the first half against Scotland, but I would also be looking at perhaps playing Elliot Daly at 13. That's just my preference. We've got a ton of wingers, and so you pick. So you just pick on form.
So who's your 15 then?
Brownie's starting to play well again. I like Alex Good. But I think
Watson if he's fit,
and he's also a really good option as well. So I don't think they're short of, not saying like we've got a dearth of players in certain positions. It's the same at 9. We got, it's really sad to hear about Dan Robson and his injuries at the moment. Danny's I think playing well, and I know all those players really well at 9. And again, you just pick on form. We've got really good experienced 9s. So I don't think there's many players that you say, actually, Eddie, you're getting this wrong. You're not selecting this guy. You're not selecting that guy, with the exception of Cipriani. But I think it's more the style of play at the moment, that we just don't have enough variation on what we're trying to do. For me, and it's easy to criticise, isn't it? And I think also, like, none of us really know what's going on. You can have a look and have a best guess on things, and then cast aspersions. Yeah. But it's we don't know what's going on a day-to-day basis, and actually what they're thinking and trying to execute and various other things. So it's just I think you take a pinch of salt on what people say.
But when you say, in terms of creativity, you'd like to see more. I mean, the first half against Scotland was some of the best rugby that England have played. Is that a falsehood?
It was good. I mean, Scotland were at 6s and 7s a little bit defensively.
Yeah.
But again, I can't and then go, find something that England did well, and then go, actually, no, they find a reason why they did well. No, they did. They were on point in that first half. They came out firing, playing well, really quick ball, took on the Scottish defence, some nice movement, some nice option taking. It was lovely. Yeah. It was really good.
I went as far, and I said it in my column. I would go as far as to say I reckon that first half was probably the best we've attacked. I felt. I mean, again, I'm a meathead, so what do I know? But I thought it was the best we've attacked. Since Eddie's been there, in terms of just the crispness, the accuracy, whatever you endeavour to do to change the game. We are presented with the game we've got, and it is a power game, and it is about the game line. Just the intensity to get over the game line, Scotland could not recover in any way, shape or form. Because of that, it then created space out wide where we got those 5 finishes, and that's the ultimate goal now. Is you cannot. It's very difficult to manipulate the defence off the bat. You've literally got to do it 7th or 8th phase where people are scrambling. If you constantly get over the game line, this. Like if you go 2 or 3 phases, go nowhere, that's fine. If you suddenly get on the front foot and you're 5, 6, 7 phases, you'll often find the wingers or somebody will walk it in, or you'll then will be creative with those one-on-ones. And I thought England did it better than I've ever seen. I was like, if you're coaching, you're always talking about boys running onto the ball, that actually the passing in the back line doesn't ever falter anyone. You see sometimes that a try would have been scored, but the pass goes slightly behind and halts someone. I thought England just completely nailed that. But then conversely in the second half,
and then you look at someone like Wales that they haven't scored. They haven't their tries. They weren't scoring that many tries in the Six Nations. They won mainly on their defence. But then because they understand what's happening in attack at the moment, they know that people are just trying to get multiple phases to then allow that space, so Wales don't overly commit in early phases, and they get their people on their feet, which allows them to keep that momentum and keep that line speed, and so that they can get to 5 or 6 or 7 phases against Wales. They're all on their feet, and they haven't changed from how they're defending off first phase, and that's when defences start to then win that battle.
I just want to give it, because I want to move on to philosophy and the philosophy of the game, but I also want to ask you about psychology, because we were talking last week about what happened to England. Yeah, exactly, Uri Geller, who's now moved on to Brexit off the back of offering to help England.
But Darren Brown tweeted today that
very good
that he created Brexit.
He staged Brexit.
So
he wins.
Yeah.
What we were going along the lines of is, you look back to the summer tour last year to South Africa, and England built up 2 really healthy leads in the first 2 tests. New Zealand, they were 15-0 up in November and lost. Obviously, the Wales game, 10-3 at half-time, with a chance to go 17-3 just before the break, and didn't manage to convert it. And then 31-7 at half-time turns into a 38-all draw. Yeah. Can you see what is the fault line in England at the moment? Are they fragile mentally?
I can see that. Like, I think there's 2 things. One about the psychology that maybe I'll talk about in a bit, and who applies that, and not just parachuting experts in thinking that you're going to solve the problems. But it's about understanding on the field when momentum is shifting and you need to get hold of that moment, you need to stop it, bookend it.
Yeah.
So, like, to use an analogy, it's like different teams that I've worked with, it's when you're getting red flags after a while. So someone's missing a tackle, someone's dropping the ball, they're getting phase, and you're getting red flags alongside what you're doing, and you just need to bookend it to get something good, a green flag, whether that's just a good pass, a good tackle, something to stop the opposition's momentum, to then enable you to start your own momentum. And I think what we saw in the Scotland game and in those other examples is that that momentum wasn't stopped, you know, until tries were scored, and then when they have an opportunity then to reset, they then allowed the opposition to start that momentum again.
Yeah.
So that's where you need to get hold of grip, you know.
And how do you do that? I mean, as a coach, do you send on messages at that point? Do you?
No, I think if you're start sending on messages to your team and trying to think that the coach is going to solve it all, then you're barking up the wrong tree. You know, it's ultimately you should have created the right framework so that players can solve these problems. Now, occasionally, coaches will interact. You know, they'll intercede and they might come up with something that no one's seen to create it, or a substitution that might be able to stem the flow or create that. But ultimately, the players should be able to see that, and then they get together and go, look, we just need to do something that's getting us back in the positive and getting some momentum.
Yeah.
You know, and in the old days, it would have been, you know, Kit Kat call, take a knee, get everyone round and go, look, we got to just do this, go do that. We just got to go to this to just start some momentum going back to where we are, and that happens in every sport, you know, where you get. But rugby's, you know, one of those that ebbs and flows, and and we just haven't dealt with that. So you can delve down a bit and go, well, where are the leaders? Where's this? Where's that? But ultimately, that's what it's about, and I don't think it's that hard to solve. And so when, you know, Eddie said, you know, they know what it is, but it takes time to solve. Well, it doesn't. If it's momentum, it doesn't take a long time to solve. And if it's a psychological thing, I think management, coaches, players have got the tools. They should have the tools. If you're an international coach, you should have the tools to be able to deal with that. I'm not a big. I've used some psychologists, and I've, you know, I think they can be really useful. But to pin your hopes on them being able to, you know, sort out everybody and get everyone making exactly the right decisions at the right time, that type of behaviour comes from consistently the same message all the time in training. And in games, and creating that psychological safety in the team where players really can feel like they can do what they want to do. So they have belief, they have purpose, they have autonomy, they feel like they're actually, you know, they make a difference, they're not being told what to do all the time. Their achievements are getting recognised, they have status and security. And when I mean safety, I mean like you can go and talk to your head coach, you can have an honest conversation with him, tell him exactly what you think. And I thought, for me, that was what Greg has done with Scotland, because at half-time, he's saying they want to carry on with the kicking game, and Finn is telling him, I'm not doing that, it's not working, it's pile of shit. He feels safe enough to be able to say that to his head coach, and for then Gregor to actually go, fair enough.
Play.
Now that's creating psychological safety, and as a result of that, they went out and did their thing. And that's really important in any team, to have your players being able to feel like they can really say what they want, and not then as a result of then saying what you want, and then you've got a big black mark by the side of you by the coach going, yeah, that's how I feel.
You know the environment. Does that ring true?
Yeah, I think firstly, in men in general, we're not great at taking advice and accepting that we're wrong, we made decisions.
It's like when you go the wrong way in the car, you refuse to turn around.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I will not go.
I will not look at a map, and I will not turn around.
Yeah, but we're just not. You know, I think I just think it's very hard, and I'm envious, and I think actually sport does have stuff to learn from business in that aspect about being able to have frank and honest conversations. In any area, any really successful team, you have that ability. Now there are ways and means of doing it. You know, where people go wrong, and actually I think we touched a little bit on it last week, but the psychology of how you talk to people, how a leader on the field delivers a message, you know, that's something that's never discussed within rugby. So you get guys who, you know, might always be out of breath coming in and go, right lads, we fucking need to, or over panicking, or you know, being extremely emotional about everything. Yeah, we've got to fucking make a tackle. Sometimes it's actually like, hold on a minute, breathe, have a minute, deliver the message succinctly, and then you take that off the field to be able to deliver it with coaches. I think there is ways and means of doing that. I think knowing Eddie, he's very open to, or asks for the feedback
from his players.
From I think certain players.
Interesting.
I think, you know, remember, if you've ever been in a meeting with rugby players, you put your hand up, you get 40 different solutions. Every time we do any kind of team building thing or beginning of a season, and you sit down and you say, right, how do you want the season to look? What's important? What's your motivation? You get 40 or 50 different, you know, differing views, quite abstract views. You know, people talk about, you know, the why of playing rugby. Well, for me, that's not something you don't. You can't get a uniform why. There's no point. Everyone plays different rugby for different reasons. Yeah. So don't even bother with that. As long as there is a why, and it's strong enough to make you get up in the morning and put your body through hell, then that matters. I think honesty with coaches is important. I've had experience with coaches who, if you challenge them, their first reaction is to go through the stats and go, well, I think you should worry about your own job. You've missed this, you've done that, you haven't done that, you didn't know that. And it's like, well,
that's not actually listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, the point is that I'm actually making, whether I'm a terrible player or you think I'm a dick, I'm making some succinct points that cannot be argued with, and that I find very hard. That I work with, and those are teams that, you know, ultimately don't end up being that successful because the person at the top, I think it always has to be a constant battle. I'm not a head coach. You know, you've been a head coach, a very successful one, obviously, is the ability to be dictatorial when you need, believing in your system. That's what I like about Eddie, is that he came into England with a system and was like, this is how I'm going to operate, and I will live and die by my sword. Where I think other coaches, they've come in with a system, the wheels have come off early doors, they've panicked, and then they've tried to change systems that they weren't that familiar with, they weren't that comfortable with, it wasn't what they believed in, just to try to get results. And I think it's important to have that belief in yourself, but be open enough to say to the right people, you know, what do you think about this? How has this gone? You know, I want your feedback. What do you think about this? Are you enjoying it? What, you know, what's the game plan? What's your thoughts on the field? How's the communication going? And that for me is the ultimate head coaching relationship. And it's something that I don't think is done enough of. You know, Eddie and the coaching staff, especially with Steve Borthwick, and when I was there with Paul Gustard, was constantly putting the guys through scenarios. We've talked about that. Scenario training, what if situations. You know, I remember speaking at a dinner the other night, and some bloke at the back asked a question very much saying, you know, do you think there was enough leadership on the field? That's crap that the media have written. Yeah. That's crap that uninformed people talk about. It's nothing to do with leadership. It's about the recognition of what's happening and being able to change it, being able to turn those constant negatives into positives, to get 2 positives on the board, to go back to a game, to a play that you know we can execute without any problems. And the bloke said, well, you know, we could all see in the stand it happening. I was like, yeah, it's very easy to sit in the stand. It's very different at Millennium Stadium, under pressure, you're tired, you're blowing, you know, you may have individually made mistakes, you want to compensate for those mistakes, you know the game's on the line. To be able to come together, and that's why you put the structures in now. You see boys get round, 2 or 3 deep breaths, don't say anything, reflect. Someone will deliver the first succinct point, someone will say something else, and they are all there. And I think in sport in general, especially rugby, could benefit from much more psychological support. I think out of all the things we do, our diet, we do all the training, and I said before, our idea of psychology is, you started the last week's game a bit slow, you need to train harder this week and start better, and everyone goes, tally ho, and we all leave the room, and then ultimately that week it goes well, and then next week the wheels fall off again. It's like, our training wasn't hard enough. You're like, I think,
bollocks. I mean, but just thinking like, just get a psychologist in and he'll solve it is not the answer. But giving players, giving coaches, giving management the tools and you know, creating some resource for that and understanding and prioritising it. Yeah, totally.
But I enjoy those frank conversations, bizarrely. Because, you know, especially when I do business stuff off the field, when someone actually sits me down and they directly look me in the eye and they say, I don't think you're very good at this. I don't think you're good at this. I don't want to step over the mark.
You love feedback.
I do love feedback.
Do you like giving feedback?
I try to. I think in the right, appropriate way. I think people sometimes find it hard for me to give feedback because sometimes, you know, I play to the crowd and there might be 2 or 3 points that were pertinent and there might be one joke thing that might undermine what I said. And it's, you know, it's someone said to me, you know, you do it because you don't want anyone to ever think you might actually care or be serious. And that was like someone who'd analysed my personality, and I was like, no. But I do think I just enjoy those kind of conversations because I don't think we have them. I think if I asked you, Ben, what do you think of me? You'd be like, oh, you know, just out of politeness, you go, lovely bloke or whatever. Very rarely do you go, actually, I don't actually like what you stand for. I don't think you do this. I'm happy to tolerate you. But it's quite interesting when someone does, because it's quite a nice shock, because we're not honest by ourselves. And I think in a team environment, in the right way, to be able to go into a coach's office and actually turn around and say, that's the ultimate thing, I think.
But I mean, I like people around me that are... I got Chris Crackler involved in Fiji because I know he likes to argue and like to say, you know, and I like that. I don't want yes people. You want people that are going to have a bit of test out what you're trying to say, but you know, and also you want people that are you want to get your communication right as a head coach so that you are listening not to answer, as James was talking about, but to actually understand what's trying to be done. So
but producer Si's got a hell of a lot of feedback for you off the back of this show.
Can I tell you one thing though? Can I tell you what though? But there's been 2 opportunities in my career where I should have spoken, and all the lads looked to me and they were like, "Don't worry, Haskell, say it," and I absolutely folded.
What were they?
So one of them was in our in some World Cup preparation. I won't name
2015.
No, just relax.
2011.
Relax.
I'm relaxed.
Well, I'm not going to say. And we'd gone and done an activity, right? That was absolute.
In Denver?
No, just relax. I'm not going to fucking dob it in. Let us enjoy the story. Don't worry about names and details, right? Same for the autobiography. And was absolute gash, right? It could have been awesome, but it was just gash. And in the process of it, what had been team building turned out to be horrific. We'd ended up having to do loads of stuff, not wearing normal gear that we'd normally wear. And we got back very late at night, thinking that, they would adjust the program. There was no way we were going to be training the next day. Boys' backs were fucked. Everyone had about 4 hours sleep. It was terrible. And everyone's slagging everything off in the morning, going, "This is bullshit. I can't do this." And I'm like, I'll say something, lads. I'll say something. And all the lads are like, yeah. And we get around a huddle, and one of the coaches says, "Lads, you know, I get a sense that we're tired. You know, we're here to try to win a World Cup. You know, so and so, how you feeling?" And they went, "Fine." Right, you know, because if any of you say that you're tired and everything else that, you know, then we'll can this training. And it went round, and 2 or 3 players went, "We're fine." And they looked at me, and all eyes went on me, and it was like, "This is my big moment." And he went, "Hask, how are you, mate?" And I went, "Super duper." I've never said super duper in my life. And it was one of those moments. And they went, "Right, let's go and fucking train." And as everyone peeled off, everyone just turned and looked at me and was like, "Super duper." Fuck's sake, Hask. Lads like just shaking their heads, going the deck. I was instantly called the deck chair. They were like that. Oh my God. I let everybody down, and honestly they were like, "Don't ever fucking pipe up. You're an absolute brown nose." They were calling me Solsy because they could see the soles of my shoes hanging out of the coach's arse. That was the only thing that was left out of it. And honestly, it was my big moment, and I went, "Super duper." I've never fucking said super duper.
It's like an ABBA song. That's a gonna find
How
me.
are you? I was like, "This is my moment. I'm super duper. Let's fucking train." And then we did a whole load of horrific fitness. Lads' legs were on backwards, feet were gone, blisters, backs were shattered. Mate, it was horrific.
Yeah. But that's when you're that's when the environment is not right for you to have said that.
I know.
In my, you know, and then that unfolds, and whatever happened.
Yeah, I would have been gone. I would have been literally gone if I'd said that. It would have been like, yeah. Oh, we'll take your feedback.
Yeah, here's the door.
And pack your bag.
There's an Addison Lee waiting for the door, because weirdly enough, in my weights program at the time, I had things called suitcase lifts. That was part of the thing I was doing, and it was like suitcase lift, something that looked like the opening a boot. And I thought they were literally preparing me for selection, right? Suitcase lift, boot opens, in and out of Lee, out the thing.
We've done really well. We've done 2 of the 3 topics we set out to do, which means you're going to have to come back for a 4th run at least.
For
philosophy.
I thought I was slow at the start. And
No, it's brilliant. Absolute gold dust. And it's really nice to talk proper rugby. One quick question. You can give a yes or no. They haven't... Nigel Melville said today they're not going to appoint Eddie Jones' successor until after the World Cup.
Right.
Would you ever be interested?
No, I mean, obviously you never... I'm not...
The old Melville Melville,
Would you ever want to, with everything you've been through and everything you now know, would you want to coach
stuff I went
England?
through with the RFU, like, it'd take a lot to get me to work back at the RFU. A lot of those people aren't there anymore.
But you're saying there's a chance.
A few zeros, that'll take away some of the pain.
Would you be interested in taking...
I was actually as interested in talking to my agent today about stuff, and was saying, like, I'm keen to get back into full-time rugby. Not now, though. Like, I'm happy with all the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get the rest of my life all sorted, and then maybe then we'll take on a good challenge. And but more kind of the role doesn't really exist to what I'd like to do. More that GM type, performance director type role.
Well, if you need a team manager,
have you got some people,
morale officer?
Would you
I'd be the ultimate team manager. You know that.
As far
Do you think
as
you would?
logistics,
Whatever you want,
everything.
Oh no, I'd have a number 2.
WhatsApp and stuff.
No, I'd have a number 2 to book all the hotels and shit. I'd be like,
sounds like me.
Team socials, code of conduct,
There's
standards.
an interesting one of the Premier clubs is having an interesting team social today. Actually,
Oh,
wine tasting.
Who are?
Well,
Can't remember.
yeah, one of the
Lovely.
teams that are struggling to trying to turn it around. I'm not sure it's going to be the right.
Yeah,
it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I was with the coach.
Is it the fine wines of Leicester or not? Is it?
might be.
Oh, dear.
You picked a team this week.
I have to turn your nose up at me at team manager. What about
No, I haven't turned your
assistant
nose
coach?
up,
You did,
but,
mate.
but
you
I
did.
think you would prefer to have a title rather than team manager. Like it'd be something.
Because in between all the other spizzes I was doing, I could give you 2 days a week.
Yeah. Oh, 2 days is quite good actually. Yeah,
I
that
could probably
is
pop
decent.
in just for morale, naming the team. Obviously, you choose it. I'm not saying I'll pick it. Name the team. Away trips, team socials,
Bus.
kit, like making sure everyone's in line. Like, because kit men, they do my head in. There's one good kit man I've worked with, and his name's Pudsey, and he's
Wasps.
unbelievable. Like, every kit man, just as a message to all the kit mans at every level: the kit's not fucking yours. The kit's not yours. You haven't bought it. Just hand it out. Stop hoarding it. Stop selling it down the markets. Just do your job. Hand the kits out. It's not that hard. Honestly, they you go to kind of this. They're like, oh, not sure. It's not your kit. You haven't paid for it. You haven't made it. Just hand it over. But they hoard it. They hoard it. They won't give it to you. Honestly, they don't give it to you. Don't do anything. They've all got the arse as well. They don't want to carry anything. The key delegators. Never met. And what coming for you, kit men? Kit man's corner.
Right, perfect. Poor time. Ben, for a man who has attention to detail and has won an Olympic gold medal and has aspirations to get back and run the world of rugby, I'm disappointed you've only arrived with 11 of your 15.
I don't, I
do a sevens team.
Simon,
He's done sevens.
I got a late call on it.
You got a late call.
I got a late call on it.
Simon's very disorganised.
No,
He was choosing the same
excellent.
shirt to wear.
He's excellent.
Okay, we're going to have to make it up. You get
I've got
45 seconds while Hask does his. But the
Okay.
subject this week is movie villains.
Movie villains. Not bad chaps or whatever you called them.
Naughty rogues.
Naughty rogues, yeah.
I've gone naughty rogues.
I've just what should I go with my pack then? Because I got an 8.
You're going to have to think quickly. Hask, you go
I'll
first.
read
You
you
get
my ideas.
30 seconds,
yeah.
45 seconds to think
Okay,
of your
yeah.
extra 4.
Number 1, Jabba the Hutt. Big scrum depth on that. Big mess. Similar hygiene to some of the props I know. You're not moving him.
Okay.
At number 2 is, I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but it's Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah. Not a hooker.
Mate, 100%. He goes around
He's a
killing
6.
people.
He is not a hooker.
No, he 100% is. Because he'll be between Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's massive.
Yeah.
He'll slot in nicely, real height, vicious hitman.
Okay.
Killing people with that cattle prod.
Yeah.
Unbelievable lid.
Yeah.
Right? And, I can't remember what his name is, the actor.
Come back.
Javier Bardem.
Bardem.
Got it. Number 2.
No, number 3.
Number 3. Annie Wilkes from Misery. The woman who breaks the...
Yes.
She's a powerful lady and vicious. You need
Yes.
that in your 3.
Very good.
Nasty. Number 4, Terminator 1.
Yep.
Horrible bloke. Ruthlessly killing everyone. Terminator 2, he's better because he got reprogrammed, but
Yeah.
he'd kill people. Number 5. Fucking hell! All right, calm
Last
down.
week you went number 5.
Yeah, fine.
So number 5. So.
Number 5, Darth Vader.
This is absolutely
Incredible control with his
Look at my
hands.
second row.
Yeah. Oops. Right,
yeah.
we're going to even worse in a minute. 6, Marv from Home Alone, because he literally gets hit with everything and keeps getting back to his feet.
Yeah.
Impossible to get down.
Yeah.
Resilient.
Bounce back ability.
Yeah. 7, Freddy Krueger. Right?
Yeah.
Vicious guy, bit deranged. Quite good
Jackal,
hands.
you'd want to change the laws with him.
Yeah,
right?
because he just stabbed the ball and you ain't getting it off him.
Yeah.
Number 8, Predator. The Predator.
Yeah.
Change,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
That
you
is
ain't seen
good,
him come
actually.
in.
I like that.
9, Hans Lauder. Or Hans Lauder, Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Christopher... you know what I mean?
Yes.
Can't remember his name. Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is the actor. Vicious man.
Yes.
Control pulling strings. Sat back eating a bit of apple pie while just murdering everyone.
Yeah.
Number 10, T1000.
Good, runs a
from
good game
Terminator.
plan.
Great game plan. Can change it to anything he wants. Pretty vicious. Very hard to stop.
Yeah.
Crash ball if needed.
Yes.
Number 11, Alien.
Yeah.
The way they run down those corridors and run after things, you pretty
Tana
much
Umaga Dreads as well.
Yeah, you're not
Like
going to
that.
stop that. 12, Sauron. Great vision, right? Great vision for 10 to help the T1000. He's essentially an eye. So if he fucking can't see the gap, nobody can. Great defence. 13, Voldemort.
Yes.
You ain't fucking with Voldemort. He can fly, he can kill you, and
Distribute.
distribute unbelievably well.
Yeah.
14, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw, right?
Wow.
Crash ball winger,
Yeah.
okay. Runs like a mad bloke, like Johnny May. Probably doesn't know where he is.
He's not
swirling around with the chainsaw.
Give me an equivalent of who that is in the modern game.
Salvia.
Julian Savea.
Junior Surveyor, yeah, that's one.
Okay.
And number 15, the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Because no one gets past him.
Because he's got incredible footwork.
No, because you always put
Well,
some
let me finish.
rogue-
He always gets, he's got great footwork, the way he dances, and ultimately he always catches what he wants, and no one ever gets past him.
Yeah. That's a
And
good
then
one.
Always a controversy.
And then Kit Woman, Cruella de Vil,
handbags.
whatever you need, shirts made out of Dalmatians, unbelievable.
Jesus.
Someone sent me Scaramanga for head of team social, 3 nipples. So it's a bit like being down the Clapham Grand on a Saturday night. So that's right. But I had a couple of a little bit of help from Robbie and Nick Tez and Paul Doran Jones actually this week. They sprinkled it in.
Dozza's come in as well.
Dozza came in with Scaramanga.
The first two had a lot of work to do off the back of the abomination last week.
Do you know what they did? They blamed it on delivery. They said I stumbled over my words, didn't say it right.
You got to wire
But
your
that was
teeth
brilliant.
in more tightly.
I did that really well, I thought.
Relatively.
Feedback? No?
It's decent.
Go on,
It's
Ben.
very good.
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit different, I guess. And my front row's got 2 from Shawshank. Warden Norton at Loosehead.
Oh yeah, very good.
Yeah, because he just gets on with things really until it,
Some of this warm. What is that? Like the line about the pie? I'm gonna have some of this fan pie your missus has made me when he gets given the cake with the
It was the
cash in
old
it.
Don't ever do that
Yeah.
impression again. That's very eerie, very much
I
like...
got so at
Hannibal
Tighthead I
Lecter.
put Boggs Diamond on. If you know Boggs, he was the one that would constantly beat up.
Oh yes,
yeah.
and then
in the
eventually,
laundry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I put him at Tighthead for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And at hooker, I got the referee in Escape to Victory.
Oh
So
yeah, very good.
He was like,
I like this. It's very sort of ethereal in the way you've gone.
second rows.
There's Escape to Victory with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, he's goalkeeper.
Bobby
yeah.
Moore, Pele, Ozzy
yeah.
Ardiles.
A lot of
John
Ipswich
Wall.
players.
Yeah.
I got Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
Brilliant. Very good.
In second row.
Yeah, very good.
And
That's what they called me.
Billy Bob Thornton when he was US president in Love Actually.
Oh, very
I reckon
good.
he'd be like quite good in second row, and he'd be able to get the calls going.
Just a
He'd-
fleeting badness as well,
Yeah.
like, but bring him out of the wilderness. No, you're not enjoying that?
I've got Victor Maitland. He was the art dealer in Beverly Hills Cop. Who, if you've seen Beverly Hills Cop 1,
So niche.
he was,
I am loving it.
And
Yeah.
he was like, he was part of, he ordered a lot of killings. And as a
Right.
blind side, I think, eventually
Yeah.
he did get
Quite
his
assassin.
ending. At 7, I got Kevin Spacey. He played John Doe in 7 as a serial killer.
That is
Yeah.
a great one. Yeah.
You know,
and also he's just a bad man, Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey.
And at number 8, I got Rufus in Notting Hill that stole the book in the bookshop.
Quite a lot of rom-coms
Rufus,
here, Ben.
yeah.
It's got a lot of actually,
Is Rufus
there's
the
a-
Irish one?
He's the one that got
Not Welsh
the
one?
book. Yeah, he stole the. No, he stole the book, and then Julia Roberts said, "Oh, you know," and then he asked for the autograph. And then, so he got caught, but he was very good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Quite in around your gaff at the moment, isn't it, with the old rom-coms.
yeah. I kind of like it. Yeah. I'll stop
you're
at
just getting with the pack.
Yeah, the other two,
Perfect.
because I've got a judge from Breakdance 1, so that's probably a bit
What
too
is that?
niche.
What's breakdance? What?
Breaking.
Yeah.
So there's the judge in it that stopped Ozone and Turbo in the dance competition from winning the competition because they said that breakdance wasn't actually a proper dance.
I think we
And
should.
then they came back in disguise wearing black tie, thinking it was going to be like a slow dance.
Yeah.
And then they broke out into breaking. And then actually the judges just were blown away by it, and then they won the competition.
I think we should go, because obviously there's a front that Ben's putting on, and we're talking about rugby. That team alone tells me that we need to go
Art and history.
No, but we need to go behind, under the scenes, because I think there's a whole other life you're living that we don't know
We haven't
anything
even started
about.
about Partridge.
Amazing.
Alan Partouche.
Yeah. Oh,
For what
wow,
it's
that
worth,
was
I think
amazing
you're.
last night.
Was that?
I've
I didn't
seen
see
it.
last
I've
night.
seen
One.
Wow.
Is it?
For what it's worth, because I think you've won this one. Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters
Yeah.
on my loose head. Odd Job at 2. Jabba the Hutt at 3.
Yeah.
I think a lockout at tight head. Terminator and Darth Vader, which you picked in your second row. I've gone quite a dark back row. Freddy Krueger, The Joker at 7.
Yeah.
Quite pleased with that. And Alien at 8. Gollum at 9. Don Logan from Sexy Beast at 10.
Oh, I love it. No. I'll go for a piss.
I've got Agent Smith from The Matrix on the left wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Lovely running style,
Yeah,
high
yeah,
knees,
yeah.
like a proper sprinter. And I've gone Norman Stansfield, who is Gary Oldman's character in Leon on the right wing, the pill-popping 1980s French. That is a good shout.
Such a good movie, that as well.
Such a good film,
brilliant.
Leon.
Yeah.
I've got Tony Montana and the Sheriff of Nottingham in my centre combination.
Lovely
hair on both.
Yeah.
So I can see
I'll
them
cut your
running nice
heart
lines.
out with a spoon.
But why a spoon, cousin?
It'll hurt more.
Yeah, exactly.
Play him at 12, probably.
Yeah.
And then I've got John Doe at 15 because no one gets past him.
Yeah.
From Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
There's two people that I would have put in. You know, the security guard in the front row, the head guard from Midnight Express.
Yes.
He would be quite an aggressive front row player. And I thought Joe Pesci from either Casino or Goodfellas at 9
Yeah. Oh, like that.
been-
Yes, that's very good.
would have been very good.
Yes.
Yeah. Amuzu how?
Funny how. Yeah,
funny.
that's
Yeah,
it.
I love that.
Funny
I
how.
wouldn't have got. I thought about playing at 9. Edward R. Rooney, who was the dean of students in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Very good.
Yeah.
Constantly trying
So
to
he
find.
was. I think-
Constantly trying to find him.
Yeah.
Like chasing.
Bueller.
You know, that's a 9.
No,
You've got to be
that's
as
not
close
him.
as
I
you
know
can
it's the
to the ball.
teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the teacher.
Yeah.
I know. Rooney.
Rooney. Good. A good tour through the baddies of cinematography.
Yeah.
1986 to 2016, 17.
No, I think it's earlier than 1986.
Yeah, Breaking One was.
The
yeah.
Jabba the Hutt was
1975.
in must be
83.
the first Star
Return
Wars.
of the Jedi.
Because you know, in the very first Star Wars, he wasn't. Jabba the Hutt was a man until they couldn't film CGI when he was a man. And they,
really big man?
No, he was
Just
just
like a normal
yeah,
size.
just an evil man.
We begin with STIs, we end with Jabba the Hutt, and there was some very good rugby chat in between. Ben,
And
thank
is
you.
that true? If you get an STI, you end up with Jabba the Hutt. That is not a great thing.
I imagine Jabba the Hutt's got quite a few STIs.
I bet he has.
Back in the day, there would have been STDs, and it's only recently
right.
they've.
What's the
been-
difference?
I don't know. It was changed when curriculum changed.
Is that right?
STDs to STIs. Yeah. Don't think they like the same
6
disease.
pints is probably the difference. lads.
And on that bombshell, we are a YouTube show and a podcast, as you know. Don't forget to download and watch our boxing show, TK with Carl Frampton and Boys Don't Cry, which of course is hosted by Russell Kane. This week's episode is on the subject of losing your virginity.
Huh?
Do you want to answer the size question?
No,
you don't.
What's the legal age of losing virginity
Yeah, right,
from men?
keep going. Don't go there, says Si.
18?
Thank you very much. Show 4. Will you come back for show 4?
Yes,
It's really,
yeah,
really
love
good.
to, yeah.
I would love chewing the fat, getting your view on it all. Be interesting to get someone from the RFU and someone from World Rugby to come on at some point for.
Yeah, I'll probably not be in for that show.
Oh, do you not?
That's a bit intense, isn't it? Chicken. Question. Just quickly.
Literally got to say goodbye.
Yeah,
but
quickly, before you say that. Did TKO with Carl Frampton and Boys Don't Cry, Russell Kane, do they plug our show on theirs?
Yes. Do you
All
not
right, good.
listen?
Well, no, I'm just making sure you do, because it's a bit unfair if it's a one-way street. I just want to make sure the lads...
Just give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chloe,
Pay it forward.
I'm a bit
Yeah.
upset because I really like Russell Kane. Like, I thought,
Yeah, me too.
I think he's very funny. Like, I've always found him funny. But when Chloe met him, when she said I was a big fan, he didn't really give a shit.
He said, "Who's James?"
Yeah, didn't really give a shit. So, Russell, I feel like we need to bond.
There we go.
As one of my PSHE lessons.
What's really weird when you do that is you're like, it's most
Claw
people's hands
hands.
interlock.
Claw
Yours
hands.
just like go like sort of mangled
They
tree
call it
stumps.
the Allen keys because they. No. Goodbye.
You've been watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk for the facts.